Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about what dismissive avoidants need to heal, to have a healthy relationship. Not necessarily need, but it's going to really benefit and it is going to probably bring a direction towards a healthy relationship. I'm not just making it just for dismissive avoidance, I'm making it for all three of the insecure attached styles. And I don't know which one's going first, which one's going second, and which one's going third, but they are going to come one after another. And so I don't know when you're going to see this one, but if this one is the first one, you're going to see the two others after. If this is the last one, you probably are, the other ones were the day before. And we're going to just do them 3 days in a row. And that's what we're going to focus on. Today is dismissive avoidance. And so let's go ahead and talk about this one's a little bit more personal to me. So the other ones may be a little less personal or a little bit less specific because this one might be something that I just remember, which is something I had to get comfortable with. And if you are a fearful avoidant who leans dismissive, you might have to, this one might be more helpful. I'll make the fearful avoidant one as well. You might see it before or after, I don't know. That one will probably help you as well, but you might need to lean into this one as well if you lean more heavily dismissive avoidant. You might need both of them. And some fearful avoidance, they might need the fearful avoidant and the anxious one. Most of the time with fearful avoidance, just the fearful avoidant video is probably going to help. But because most fearful avoidance, they swing between two attachment styles or they lean one way or the other, that is, you might have to look at all of them or just two of them. That's just the way it goes. So that might be fitting for this one. The first one is learning to compromise. Compromise is something that dismissive avoidance struggle with quite a lot. It's something I have always struggled with. It's something that I have worked pretty hard to learn to do. And compromise is not always what people think it is, which is why a lot of dismissive avoidants don't realize what it is that they're struggling with. But most of them that I've worked with in therapy do know that they struggle with compromising. Like, it's probably one of the things that they are more aware of. If somebody is, I don't know, less rigid about timing, that's annoying for a lot of dismissive avoidance. And so what they do is if it's not happening at this time or it doesn't happen this way, they just don't want that situation ever. That's actually a lacking of compromise. It's really important to learn to compromise how people, just how they are. It's not like they're trying to get under your skin or annoy you or control your life. It just is, that's the way they are. And so learn a little bit of how other people operate to let yourself, you don't have to change, but just in your mind, okay, I know this person is, they're going to ask for this and I want to do it this way. Let's try and meet in the middle. I don't want to go to this thing at all. I don't want to go on this date at all. I'd rather sit at home and we can watch TV. But this person, my significant other, let's just say an example, wants to go on a date because we haven't gone on a date in a while. That's reasonable. So how about we go on a date and then afterwards maybe we can sit at home. And so try and find a compromise without necessarily shutting down or getting mad that it's not happening the way you think it is because you're afraid to be controlled or one day you're afraid that you're going to be the one compromising forever. Recognize that the fear of why you don't compromise is irrational. Plus, it's just way more comfortable for dismissive avoidance to just not compromise. Like, it just feels so much it's so comfortable to just live in your own bubble and within your walls. It really is. It's so easy to just get caught in that. But over time, it will be something that is unhealthy. Just like it's really easy to eat unhealthy food, depending on your definition of unhealthy. It's easy to, but it's just not good for you. It's the same thing. Sometimes sitting in your box all day and just doing your way, it's unhealthy. It doesn't teach you to become strong, even though you think it does. It actually doesn't. You actually become weaker in a lot of other skills, and learning to compromise can actually help you get stronger and build better. That's how I looked at it. The next one is reduce anger or negative outbursts that push people away. So saying, this is the way I am. I can't change. Leave me alone. I don't want to. Stop saying that, whatever it is, say it in a different way first and foremost. And then also process if they're asking for something that's probably reasonable, which they probably are. Let's just say, for example, they say, be more affectionate. And you're like, this is the way I am. If you don't like that, then you can get out and find someone else. Let's say that's the conversation. There's definitely a way to say it. You can say, I know that I'm not an affectionate person. You can even say, I'm not even sure if I ever will be. I hope that doesn't mean that you don't like me for who I am. It doesn't mean I don't like you. You can say that if you don't want to change. Or if you want to hear them out, you can say, okay, I know I'm not an affectionate person. I can try, but I just want you to know it's probably going to take a while. I want you to, stick around and accept me for the way I am. and be okay with the timeline I'm going to take, but I also want you to know it's probably not going to happen tomorrow. Having that type of communication is much better than saying, this is the way I am. If you don't like it, then you can leave. Because that's why you feel that way. And so it's just important to communicate. The next one is when someone tells you something about yourself, don't always take it as criticism. And I still struggle with this one. Maybe a lot of people do. I know I cannot. This one is just one of the hardest ones for me. They were all hard. It doesn't even matter, okay? Anytime somebody tells you something, sometimes it's because they care about you, which is very hard to understand. And even if you don't understand it, just tell yourself that and just roll with it, honestly. Someone will tell you, it's not healthy that you, I don't know, that when you get mad, you leave the house and, I don't know, drive around at 3 a.m. Let's just say that's what you do. Some people do that. And you can say it's not healthy or it's not safe. Maybe someone says it's not safe and you get mad because you think they're telling you you're wrong or you're flawed or you're broken. Understand that they're not saying that and that it's coming from care. Just try to understand that. Believe that. And you can even ask, okay, why are you saying this? Like, is it because you don't respect the way I am? You can communicate, have a conversation. The next one is share something vulnerable about yourself slowly to your significant other. Common ones that avoidants avoid is how much money they make, really common, eating habits, work stress, or what they're anxious about. If you trust somebody, try a little bit and see how they respond. The next one is get more comfortable with physical connection, such as holding hands, cuddling together, kissing, or other things. Sometimes trying things that you're uncomfortable with, just a little bit, as long as you trust your significant other, can really improve this fear and discomfort. And it'll start showing you that you're not a person that's uncomfortable with these things, because I know there's a party that doesn't want to be uncomfortable with these things. You don't want to live in this like box of like control and rigidness. I think there's a part of, I feel like all dismissive avoidants somewhere deep inside where they don't want to live in this like rigid like feeling. Sometimes you can almost feel envious of people who just go and just are fluid and they are emotional and they do a lot of these things. I know I did feel like that, and sometimes I still do, where sometimes it just seems like so much easier to live that life. But there's a part of you that also doesn't want to, because you look down on people like that. It's true. But at the same time, you envy it. And I think there's a balance. You don't have to be the most physically connected person ever. But maybe if you build some of these skills, you can start learning that you can still be yourself. You're not gonna lose your identity, but you can still be more physically comfortable. A lot of this is because you're afraid to lose that identity of the person that you think is strong and will help you, which is yourself. And you feel like if you are physically affectionate or comfortable with somebody, that you will lose that person. And that's not true. You will learn a balance. And that's you having to be trying to do some of these things and finding your balance. And the last one is when something makes you mad or upset, communicate it before shutting down or breaking up with somebody. Just try this and it'll really make it a lot easier, because a lot of times what dismissive avoidants do, and that's why a lot of them come back, they react when they're mad, they break up or they shut down, and then when they're not mad, they come back. And the cycle continues, but every time the cycle continues, the relationship is breaking and the trust is being broken. So trying to break that cycle is really important. So let's summarize and we'll wrap it up. Learn to compromise. Reduce those outbursts that push people away. When someone tells you something about yourself, frame it as not always criticism, but that they care. Share something vulnerable about yourself to your significant other. Get more comfortable with physical connection. And the last one is when something makes you mad or upset, communicate it instead of shutting down. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.